Hi, I'm David Fleming, and I want to welcome you to the YouTube channel of Disciples Ignited, where we focus on Jesus, advance His kingdom, and prepare His disciples. I'm really glad that you've chosen to listen to these short videos that we're keeping less than 5 minutes long. I'm sharing with you content from God's Word that I know is going to help you in your walk with Jesus. So welcome. As you may know, I have written a series of books on discipleship. It's called the Spirit-Filled Discipleship Series. It's made up of 3 books, and they're each full of content that's going to be useful to you. And if you're helping mentor other people as disciples of Christ, then you can use them individually or in a group setting. So look them up on Amazon. They're going to really help you out. Now, let's get on to our study on the life and ministry of David. As you know, David started out as a shepherd, and then the Lord elevated him to become the king of Israel. And as the king, David found out that to be elevated by the Lord was putting him into a position where he was going to be attacked by the enemy more often. You see, the surrounding nations, when David was the king of Judah, the surrounding nations, by the most part, just left David alone. But when he became the king of Israel, that all changed. Don't think that the enemy is going to take your blessings from the Lord and your elevation by the Lord sitting down. No, never. The greater the blessing, the greater the elevation that the Lord elevates you to, the greater the attack is going to be. 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 17 tells us, when the Philistines heard that David had been anointed king over Israel, they went up in full force to search for him. As king of Israel, you see, you got to understand, David represented the entire nation. Thus, he became the primary target for all the enemies of Israel. You know, we all need the Lord's blessing, and we desire the Lord's blessings. We desire the Lord's blessings to reach more people and to give us an extended platform so that we can be more effective and reach more people. But we've got to understand that as the Lord blesses and elevates us, that puts us in a position that we are going to have to become like David in this. We're going to have to be warriors. You see, David has a lot to teach us about being a warrior. David was both defensive and offensive in his fighting. And if we're going to be effective as disciples of Christ, we're going to have to be offensive and defensive in our warfare. What do I mean? Well, let's talk about defense. When David and his kingdom were attacked, they had to defend themselves. Let me ask you, do you know how to defend yourself against the enemy? Well, one of the first things you need to do is put on the full armor of God that we read about in Ephesians chapter 6. That is going to be the first and primary thing that you do to defend yourself. But what about offense? How do we take the offensive against the enemy? You see, David, as the king of Israel, he didn't wait for the enemies to attack him. He often attacked them first. I love what Psalm chapter 18, verses 37 through 39 tells us. I pursued my enemies and I overtook them. I did not turn back till they were destroyed. I crushed them so that they could not rise. They fell beneath my feet. You armed me with strength for battle. You made my adversaries bow at my feet. That was a prayer of David. And that was all about being offensive against the enemy. Do you know how to take the offense against the enemy? Do you know how to storm the gates of hell? Well, let me encourage you to start prayer walking. Ask the Lord where He wants you to begin to pray and begin to plant yourself there and start walking through that area, praying for that area. I know many people that the Lord has sent them to schools and they pray around schools, or they pray around different places that the Lord wants to pull down the strongholds. As disciples of Jesus, we, like David, are called to war. So it's time to become defensive and offensive against the work of the enemy. Until next time.